We can see the Porsches forming up on the grid. The green flag waves at the back of the field, so we are about to get underway. When the red lights come on, the man on the front row, number 44, trying to close his door there. Bit of a problem for Sam Callahan. Also races Ginetta sports cars as well. He'll start as one of the favourites here as we get underway with our first race of the day here at Thruxton. Sam Callahan and Rob Hardy leading them away in their Boxsters for this 40-minute race. Mainly Boxsters and 924s out there. We've got a 944 and a 968. A little further back in the pack, plus a Cayman at the back of the field as well. 4 different classes in this field, all based on power to weight ratio, as the cars head around the complex for the first time. The right at Campbell, the left at Cobb, and the right at Seagrave. The 3 corners all named after former land speed record holders. There's the 924s of 111. That's Pip Hammond. Should have shared with Philip Waters, the chairman of the Car All Porsche Trophy in this race. Unfortunately, Philip unable to drive, so Pip Hammond is riding solo as they head out into the country for the first time. It is the number 44 of Sam Callahan who leads the way in his Porsche Boxster. There's the Cayman at the back of the field, one of the newer cars in this field. Number 1, started by Trevor Bales. Paul Hicks will take over at the pit stop. That's running in Class 1 for cars with a power to weight ratio of 240 bhp per tonne as the cars head out into the country. The smaller 924s run in their own class. That's for cars of 150 bhp per tonne. The Boxsters run across mainly Class 2, which is 200 bhp per tonne. The Class 3 cars are 180 bhp per tonne. That's the 968 and the 944. So it's Boxsters 1, 2 and 3 as they come around to complete the first lap. In fact, another Boxster up into 4th place there as they cross the line. It is Callahan who leads, Rob Hardy in 2nd place, Gary Goodwin is in 3rd. His brother Michael, new to racing this year, will take over that car at the pit stop. Number 13 in 4th place, that's Brian Richardson. Had a win in that car at Brands Hatch earlier this year with Colin Tester sharing the car, but Brian driving solo today as the leaders head through the complex. It is number 44 of Sam Callahan who holds the lead. 5th place is the 944, number 56 there, driven by Tom McHugh. He's raced this car for over 20 years in various Porsche events. And the first of the 944s, which is Pip Hammond up there behind him. Pip's won a few titles in motorsport, including the Classic Stock Hatch Championship in a Vauxhall Nova in the past. 39, Rob Hardy in the Verum Builders Cup. Raced a 944 in the past as well, loves his Porsches. His own building company, sponsored a few series in motorsport as well. But he's under fire there from Gary Goodwin in the 146 Boxster. Gary's raced that car for around 10 years now. Rob Hardy pulls away as they head through the ultra-fast Church Corner on the back of the circuit, then through the left flick of Brooklands, up Woodham Hill and towards the Club Chicane. It's first race of 22 here at Thruxton across the course of this weekend. In towards the Club Chicane then, the 3 leaders line astern, then a gap back to 4th place Brian Richardson in his Boxster, then Tom McHugh in his 944. He leads Class 3. Class 4 is being led by Pip Hammond, Class 4 for the Porsche 924s. Hammond's still ahead of Dan Krigo in his lovely 968s. Further back, that's number 35 car. There is a class as well for the Boxsters that used to race in the Porsche Drivers Association Championship. The only car that was in that class though was James Harvey, and he sadly failed to take the start. Through the complex go the 3 leaders. Callahan leads, also races in the Ginetta GT4 Super Cup, a singer-songwriter away from motorsport as well. Certainly an entertainer in all aspects. As they start to settle in to this 40-minute race. Don't forget the pit window opens after 15 minutes of this race. We will let you know as soon as it is open. 36 minutes of the race still to go. A long way to go yet. This is the longest race of the weekend. The other races are 15, 20 or 25 minutes as we go across the weekend. Here's the fight for 4th place. Brian Richardson coming under fire from the number 56 of Tom McHugh in his 944. 944, the successor model to the 924. Bit of dust being blown up there on the left of the circuit. I wonder if somebody's had an off there. We'll see as they come through over the line. Pip Hammond still 6th. Dan Krigo in the 968 is 7th. Chris Valentine has dropped back into 8th place. That's the sticker bomb car. See that car further back with number 88. Chris is a motorsport photographer, and the car is covered in motorsport photographs. Over the line have gone the leaders. The second place man Rob Hardy set the fastest lap that time through. He's less than half a second behind Sam Callahan now. Gary Goodwin in 3rd place, the experienced Porsche Boxster racer. There could be a move being made here. Dan Grigo up alongside Pip Hammond, that's for 6th position. Dan Grigo and Pip Hammond both leading their classes as they make their way through the complex, and Grigo is through on the run into the right-hander at Campbell there, then the left at Cobb, into the right at Seagrave. You can see how planted Pip Hammond's car is there in white number 111. Say he was due to share with Philip Waters, the chairman of the Porsche, of the All Porsche Trophy. He and Ryan Lowry founded this series back in 2019, if I remember rightly. Ryan, sadly no longer with us, tragically died in 2020. The drivers race in his memory, particularly those in the 924s. Porsche 924s used to have their own standalone championship back in the 90s and early 2000s. They were then combined with the Boxsters, with the Porsche Racing Drivers Association, and now the cars amalgamated with others here in the Calm All Porsche Trophy, all raising money for a good cause, the campaign against living miserably, the mental health charity. They've helped a lot of people inside and outside of motorsport, I'm sure, over the years. Here's our battle between Dan Grigo and Pip Hammond, the more powerful 968s. Very commonly seen Porsche, the 968. Beautiful looking car though. Grigo comes from Ipswich in Surrey. As they race through the first corner at Alarm, then up towards the complex. Still Sam Callahan who leads the way, holding off Rob Hardy, who's just on the fastest lap of the race as well. Sam Callahan, 132.055 here on the fastest race circuit in the country. Out into the country they go, out of Noble, up towards Goodwood, and then through to the tremendously fast Church Corner. The quickest cars that race here at Thruxton hit 150 miles an hour through that right-hander. They come out of Church now, and it's up to the left flick of Brooklands and up Woodham Hill to the Club Chicane. Very tough on tyres, this very abrasive surface here at Thruxton. It is an active airfield, this circuit as well. You will sometimes see light aircraft take off from the runway on the infield. The Hampshire Isle of Wight Air Ambulance is based here at Thruxton as well. Here's a battle further back. These are the sticker bomb cars you mentioned, the two 924s, the number 15 there of Ivor Mares, the Northern Irishman, giving chase to 88's Chris Valentine. Certainly an unorthodox choice of livery, but they certainly stand out. These cars covered in photographs taken by Chris Valentine. He'll hand over to David Hornsey at the pit stops. David, a professional racer and race instructor, so that 924 number 88 will fly with him at the wheel. And in behind them we've got Hugh Perch, who's raced his 924 for many years, number 36. That's the blue car, see behind there with the gold wheels. Hugh has raced that car for longer than I can remember in Porsche events. Coming up to 31 minutes of the race to go, so that's 9 minutes gone. The pit window not open yet, as Ivor Mares up the inside into the Club Chicane. He will take 8th place. Nicely done, Ivor. Ivor Mares, who's raced Formula Ford over in Ireland, among many other things over the years. That's for 3rd in class, no, 2nd in class, sorry, of the 924s. Pip Hammond up ahead of them, leading the class by a very clear margin. There's Hugh Perch, 4th in category. Those two cars are Darren Constant, car number 42, and at the back it's the Cayman in class 1 of Bales and Hicks, Trevor Bales at the wheel at the moment. Callahan still leads by 1.5 seconds as Hugh Perch up the inside. Excuse me, he says, past Chris Valentine there in the complex. A little bit of rubbing possibly there on the way into Campbell Corner. And out of Noble, the right-hander named after Richard Noble, who held the land speed record with Thrust 2. It really is all about speed here at Thruxton. And out into the back of the circuit towards Goodwood, and then through to Village and Church Corner, the fastest of all. There is Church Corner, this long right-hander. have to be brave through here. The 924 battle breaking apart here slightly. Your leader is Sam Callahan. His lead is up to 1.8 seconds now over Rob Hardy in the Battle of the Boxsters at the front of the field in this calm all Porsche trophy race. It's the fourth race they've held this year. They opened their season at Donington Park in April. It was Matt Kyle Henney and Toby Barlow who were the winners on that occasion. Then at Brands Hatch, Gary Goodwin took a win driving solo on that occasion, and Brian Richardson sharing with Colin Tester took the second race. Out in front here it is Sam Callahan, and he's got some supporters in our YouTube comments today. Thank you to Sarah Smith for getting in touch. There's Gary Goodwin in third place, chasing Rob Hardy. The novice cross on the back you can see there, the black cross on the yellow background. That's not for Gary Goodwin, it's for his brother Michael. It'll only be his second race today when he takes over the Boxster in the pit stops. Here's the scrap of the 924s. Hugh Pert is really getting aboard here. He's chasing Ivor Mares further down the top 10. Top 10 overall, that is. Of course, a multi-class race, so everybody's got something to fight for. The gap is up to 2.6 seconds now. Sam Callahan is running away with this. Gary Goodwin third. There's a gap of 7 seconds back to Brian Richardson in fourth place. Tom McHugh in the 944. The red 944 is still fifth. He's being closed down by Dan Kriego for that fifth place, and that's for the class lead as well. Class 3. The two front engine cars. And there's this fight for 8th place. Pip Hammond's rather on his own in 7th position now. This is the fight for 8th, 9th and 10th. And behind them we've got Constant and the Bales and Hicks car. Another car that didn't take the start in this one by the look of things is another of the 924s, Carl Rossin. We can now hand down to Ian Waterhouse down in the pit lane, and he's with the second driver in car 88, just been watching, and that is professional racer and instructor David Hornsey. He's down with Ian in the pits. Everybody up in this sweltering pit lane. David Hornsey just about to go out. David, you must be roasting, aren't you?
Absolutely boiling.
But you can't wait to get in the car.
Yeah, bit of air for it, be alright.
How's your teammate?
Yeah, he's doing alright, Yeah, he's got a quick into that, which is the main thing. I think he's got a smile on his face when he gets out.
Fantastic, because you're going to take it home. Feeling good, feeling like the circuit?
It's my home track, so I've worked here as a race instructor for 20 odd years. So
wow. You could drive it blindfolded then, right?
This is my house.
This is mine. Best of luck, that's talking to us, David Hornsey. This is his house. And that's the car that, thanks Ian, that's the car that David Hornsey is going to take over, the number 88 of Chris Valentine. David, a racing instructor, he's been a driver coach for Porsche, for Ferrari and a number of other makes as well. He even trained stunt drivers in his time. Meanwhile, just before we cut to that interview, we saw Hugh Pert take the number 15 of Ivor Mares. So he's up into 8th place now. There's been a change for 5th as well, because Dan Kriego has got ahead of Tom McHugh. That's for the lead of Class 3 as well. We keep an eye on the 924 battle. The lead battle overall is increasing. Sam Callahan ahead of Rob Hardy. Hugh Pert under fire from Ivor Mares as they go into the club chicane. Pert holds the line. So much experience in these cars. He's holding that second place.
Yellow flags over there, or yellow signals. I was a bit dubious about the LED.
Just heard the circuit PA mention there's a yellow flag somewhere, so possibly somebody has come to grief somewhere on circuit. We'll pick up on that in a moment. Pit window will be opening in 1 minute's time. There is the yellow flag. Now, who is that for? There go the leaders. There's the second place light. So it's not one of our leaders that's in problems. It might be the number 1 car, because that's showing us a couple of laps down. Now there is the number 13 car. No, the number 1 car is coming to the pits, so that's actually an early stop because the pit window hasn't opened yet. Tom McHugh is dropping down the timing screen. I think we've lost the 944. There's the number 1 car in the pits. Now, we haven't had notification that the pit window was open yet, so that might be an early stop for that car, the number 1 of Bales and Hicks. Paul Hicks taking over. There's Dan Krigo. He was battling for the lead of Class 3 with Tom McHugh, but Tom McHugh has gone missing, so presumably that's the reason for the yellow flags we saw. We haven't seen Tom's car, so we don't know what has happened to him yet. There go the leaders. We now get notification the pit window is open. I think the number 1 car has come in slightly early there, so that might be a penalty if they have. Here's the battle for second. Gary Goodwin closing right up on Rob Hardy. Gary Goodwin giving chase to Rob Hardy. Now I suspect Gary Goodwin will stay in the car towards the end of the pit window here, because Michael is the less experienced of the two brothers. Here comes the 924 battle, and running wide there, Ivor Mares is going for the 36 of Hugh Pertz. These two are battling all race long. Chris Valentine in behind them in the number 88. Oh, we've got some... Oh, there's been a collision somewhere. Look at the front of Pip Hammond's car. Now, we've just been told from Ian down there that may have happened in the pit lane. Goodness me. Try and find out what's happened there. The number 1 car is still in. The 42 car, that is, of Darren Constant in the pits. Now, we didn't see what happened there to Pip Hammond. He's hit something, certainly. The number 1 car goes back out. Incidentally, the 924s, being the slightly slower cars, they have a pit stop minimum of 60 seconds. The other cars in the other classes have a minimum of 90 seconds to even things up a little. There goes the number 1 car, the Porsche Cayman. It's named Sabine, that car is, in memory of Sabine Schmitz, the Nürburgring Queen, who's sadly passed away fairly recently. The number 1 car goes back out. There's Dan Krigo, now the only runner in Class 3, because we have lost Tom McHugh, unfortunately, in the red 944. And Dan Krigo is closing on Brian Richardson for 4th place. They've all got to make their mandatory stops, of course. There's some damage to the 42 of Darren Constance. Is that the car that's had a collision with Pip Hammond? The 924s. We think those two 924s have collided. There's the 88 car in, so Chris Valentine getting out and David Hornsey will be getting in. You know his years of experience with the sports cars and supercars, so that 924 will fly in his hands. There goes your leader, still Sam Callahan out in front. Gary Goodwin, I can tell you, has now got up into 2nd place. Blue flag being shown by the marshals there to warn the back markers that the leader is approaching. There's the number 1 of Paul Hicks. And there's the 2nd place fight, and they've got the battling 924s ahead of them. This is going to be interesting. Have to be careful to pick their way through here. Gary Goodwin goes through on the inside, past Hugh Pertz. This is going to delay Rob Hardy slightly. Is he going to get through there, coming out towards Woodham Hill? Yes, he is. They've got Ivor Mares ahead of them in the number 15.
Giving everyone their respective track time. So the lead gap is 4.8 seconds.
Inside of the Porsche, of course, everything overlapping at the moment. The pit stop's been taking place. I'm just going to wait to see if anybody's going to come into the pits this time through. Doesn't look like they are. Pip Hammond in the pits at the moment. Rob Hardy has come in. He has come in there just behind Gary Goodwin, so the car that was in 3rd place is in. And I think Ian Waterhouse has got an update for us down in the pit lane.
Right, here we are in the pits. Now, we did actually just see a bit of an incident coming in with one of the drivers. What happened down there?
Well, I mean, I was catching the 42. I'm not sure who was driving because I'm not a regular in the series, and he was steady through the chicane, so I tried to pass him to the pit wall side. He decided to come into the pits the same lap, so I caught the back wheel of his car and it fired up with the air. The car landed pretty heavily and obviously did plenty of damage, so that's all.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm angry.
But really appreciate talking to us, really do. And sadly it's ended that way for you, but these things do happen. As you can see as well, just behind us, Rob Hardy, the man who qualified in 3rd place, just into the pits as well for his mandatory pit stop. A lot going on. Let's have a little look. Look at the front of this car, by the way. Look at that. He's going to be nipping at the heels of his rivals, definitely. This is Rob Hardy, car number 39. Started the race 2nd place, qualified in 3rd. After, of course, James Harvey did not take the start of this race. So mandatory pit stops going on. Bit of action now going on here in the pits. I'm going to hand over to your commentator. Dave Goddard is going to carry on taking you through the action.
Yes, thanks Ian. Rob Hardy in the pits then. The leader, I can tell you, has come in as well, and Gary Goodwin. They've come in at the same time. The pit window only open for 10 minutes. Dan Kriego is in as well in the 968. It's very busy in the pit lane, you can see there. Pip Hammond was the driver we heard from there in the 111 car. Looks like his race is over with bent steering after that collision with Darren Constant. Darren's kept going. So Callahan's in, Goodwin is in, Michael Goodwin will take over that car. They've asked for a shout out to their dad Jerry, the two brothers. He prepares the car for them and is their mechanic. He'll be down in the pit lane enjoying the sunshine. So the top 3 have all made their stops. The first car now that hasn't stopped is number 13 Brian Richardson, the winner at Brands Hatch a few weeks ago. More cars in the pits. There's Callahan. And there is Rob Hardy, who has rejoined behind one of the sticker bombed 924s there. And there's Brian Richardson. Now, is he going to come in this time, or is he going to take the lead of the race on track in the number 13? We'll have to see how it all cycles through. As we mentioned, classes 1, 2 and 3 all have a minimum pit stop of 90 seconds. They have to be stationary. Class 4, which is the 924s, they only have a 60-second minimum stop to even things up a bit, because with no disrespect meant to them, the 924s are not as quick as the other Porsches out there. It looks like Pip Hammond is out of the race. We saw his steering was bent. Tom McHugh we lost earlier is into the pits, as Sam Callahan goes out of the pits. Now, is he going to emerge ahead of Rob Hardy here as they come out towards Allard? Yes, he is. So Sam Callahan should hold his lead of the race when everything cycles through. We see Callahan ahead of Hardy there. And then we'll wait to see what happens when Goodwin rejoins Michael Goodwin. Michael probably the slower of the 2 drivers in the 146 car. So these 2 are the de facto race leaders now, Callahan ahead of Hardy, as they were before the stops. Brian Richardson is in the pits. Now, has anybody else yet to stop? Yes, Ivan Mares, I think, is the only car that hasn't come in now, in the number 15 car. He's currently leading class 4 for the 924s, but we'll see where he gets out in relation to the other sticker bomb car with David Hornsey now on board, who we heard from earlier. Sam Callahan leads. As they head up towards Woodham Hill once again. The window will be closing in just over a minute and a half's time, so Ivan Mares will have to come in this time by. If you miss the pit window, you get penalised. I have a feeling the number 1 Porsche Cayman may have come in slightly early. Oh, the leader makes a mistake there at the chicane over the curbs. Sam Callahan nearly lost it. Leads over the line. He's under pressure here from Rob Hardy. Let's compare their lap times this time through. Callahan is showing as an out lap, so we can't compare this time through. Let's double check it. I'll refresh the timing screen and we might be able to check their lap times. Callahan's was an out lap last time, so we'll have to wait and see what works out last time through, but it certainly looks as though Hardy is closing in. They lap Hugh Pert in his 924 coming out of Noble. Hardy has in fact dropped back a little there. He ran a bit wide coming out of Seagrave. Out towards the back of the circuit once again. Ivan Mares has come in, so that's everybody making their stops who was able to do so. Of course, Tom McHugh didn't get that far, sadly, in his 944. Pip Hammond involved in that collision. He's out of the race. So let's have a look at the class leaders now that everything's settled down. It will be Callahan leading overall and in class 2, I would think. We'll see where Brian Richardson slots back in though, because he was the last of the front runners to make a stop. We'll see as they come through where Brian Richardson slots back in. That's what we've got to do. He's on his out lap at the moment. Here comes Sam Callahan through the chicane. Rob Hardy behind him. Over the line to complete 15 laps. It is Callahan leading, Hardy second. Their lap times are about the same that time through. So it's Callahan from Hardy. We've just got to wait to see where Richardson slots back in. So it's Callahan overall and leading class 2. Class 1, there's just the one runner, the Bales and Hicks Cayman. That's running down in 10th place. Class 3, Dan Krigo, the only surviving runner. He is in 6th position in the 968s. Class 4 for the 924s, I suspect that's going to be either Ivan Mayers or David Horns leading that category. We'll see how that plays out because Ivan Mayers has just been into the pits. Pit window is now closed. And these are the leaders. They're well clear of Brian Richardson. He's some 15 seconds back in 3rd place. Then Dan Krigo is 4th in the 968. He's another 10.9 seconds further back in 4th position. Then we've got the Goodwins in 5th place. This is now a learning exercise for Michael Goodwin, joining the family race team. He's there in 5th place, in 4th in class, behind the other Boxsters. There's the Cayman, in class 1 car. Paul Hicks having taken over from Trevor Bales.
133.
Novice cross on the back there, a new cruiser racing this year. They're in 10th place, Bales and Hicks, in the Porsche Cayman. One of the newer models of Porsche featured in this series, but it is of course open to all Porsches. So it does say all Porsches in the regulation. I bet you could even enter a Group C Porsche 962 if you had one. There's Dan Krigo in his lovely Porsche 968s. 4th place overall, leading class 3. He's got nobody to battle with sadly now because Tom McHugh has dropped out. So just under 13 minutes of this race to go. New fastest lap for Sam Callahan, 1:31.828. That's time through. There's our 2nd place man. He's got one of the 924s in behind him. Is that Ivan Mayers? Yes it is, number 15. Now who's leading the 924 class, class 4? It is David Hornsey, car number 88, having taken over Chris Valentine. There are your class standings. Hugh Pert is 3rd of the 924s, and there's the battered and bruised example of Darren Constant, number 42. He's in 9th place, chasing Michael Goodwin. Gary Goodwin has raced this car with the old Porsche Racing Drivers Association Championship, which was Boxsters and 924s. First Porsche Boxster to race in the UK, I remember, was in the late 90s when the model first came out, in about 97 or 98. Mike Pickup was the driver of that one in the Porsche Club Championship. That was the Johnny Molem dominated it. There's Rob Hardy, still chasing our leader. The gap is 1.48 seconds. Now their last lap times were virtually identical, and Hardy was just a few hundredths of a second quicker. Those sharks' teeth on the front of the car. Is he going to gobble up Sam Callahan's lead here? The Verum Builders Limited Boxster. Rob Hardy, the owner of Verum Builders, he's previously raced a 944. Trying to chase down Sam Callahan. There's the Class 1 car, number 1, Paul Hicks at the wheel. He's a novice this season, just burning the ropes in Porsche racing, enjoying himself a Saturday afternoon drive in the sunshine. There is Brian Richardson. He's in 3rd place, number 13. Colin Tester, a very experienced saloon and GT racer, shared within a Brands Hatch to take a victory. Just over 10 minutes of the race to go now. Now there's Dan Krieger coming up to lap Hugh Pert, who gets a wheel onto the dirt there. You don't want to do that through Church Corner. You don't want to make any mistake through Church Corner because you're likely to end up in the trees. Seen touring cars end up flying off there. I remember Alain Menu in his Renault Laguna many years ago spinning off at that point on the circuit. He ended up in a ditch over by the trees on the edge of the circuit. Beautiful and very rural circuit here at Thruxton, you can see here in Hampshire, not far from Andover. Here comes Krigo past the pits towards the right-hander as Allard. After Tony Allard of the Sidney Allard of the Allard Car Company. Sidney Allard said to be the father of British drag racing as well, brought some drag racing over from the USA. Lots of the corners at Thruxton named after those associated with speed. I believe the second corner now named after Andy Green, the current holder of the World Land Speed record with Thrust SSC. And of course Campbell, Cobb and Seagrave complex. Sir Malcolm and Donald Campbell, John Cobb, Henry Seagrave, all British heroes, Richard Noble as well. Here comes your leader, Sam Callahan. Again a little out of shape there through the chicane. He comes up over the line. He did the fastest lap of the race again last time through, 1:31.549. That was a 1:32.1. Still half a second quicker than Rob Hardy, so he's pulling away slightly. He's 3 seconds up now on Rob Hardy. And here is Paul Hicks being lapped by number 88, David Hornsey. This is your leader of Class 4 in the sticker-bombed 924. See the racer and instructor, professional driver he describes himself as. Certainly driving beautifully in this 924. Started by Chris Valentine. Chris Valentine does a lot of work in not only photography but in motorsports, press and social media as well. Church Corner, you can see the 924 right on the limits as it heads out towards Brooklands, over the curb there, chasing down Darren Constant in his 924. Hornsey leading the class in 6th overall. How far ahead of Ivan Mayers is he? He's over 30 seconds clear now. Dan Krieger has just done the fastest lap of the race in 4th place, 1:31.26. That's a great lap from the 968. That's 0.3 of a second quicker than anyone else has gone. That's brilliant from Dan Krieger. I hope he didn't do that by cutting the chicane or anything we didn't see. He's closing on Brian Richardson, so we'll try and pick up on that battle if we can. Here they are. They're coming up to lap one of the 924s, that's Ivan Mayers. Dan Krieger is attacking Brian Richardson for 3rd place. Here they come into the club chicane. Right, the left, then the right, so easy to lose it over the curbs there. Krieger is closing, he's going for 3rd place here as they come up towards Allard. What's his lap time this time through? 1:31.9, he's really on it, Dan Krieger here in the Porsche 968, the front end engine machine. On the tail of Brian Richardson's Boxster. They're well clear of the rest. This is the main focus on track at the moment. Through the complex and Krieger a bit sideways, he's really pushing that 968 hard. We've got just over 6 minutes of this race to go for the Calm All Porsche Trophy. Series, as we say, founded back in around 4 years ago by Philip Waters and the late Brian Lowry. Philip sadly unable to race today. He's watching on, I'm sure. Through towards Church they go. Fastest corner in the country. Charge their way towards Woodham Hill once again. What can Dan Krieger do? Can he get the older 968 ahead of the Boxster and onto the overall podium? Dan Krieger, as long as he keeps going, he's going to win his class. He's the only Class 3 car left running after Tom McHugh dropped out, as we mentioned earlier. Chasing Brian Richardson, he's in 3rd place overall and in class. They're all Class 2 Boxsters in the podium places. Through the chicane they go. Behind them, Michael Goodwin is still in 5th place. He's about 35 seconds back on these two. Then we've got David Hornsey as a further 22 seconds back. So they're fairly well spread out at the moment, with the exception of these two. The leaders separated by 3.3 seconds at last count when they completed lap 21. 5 minutes of this 40 minutes Callahan Porsche Trophy race to go. He's down in 7th place, second of the Class 4 924s. Still Dan Krigo can't quite get up alongside Brian Richardson's box. 10 cars still running out of the 12 that started. Of course, James Harvey, who qualified on pole, had a shunt in qualifying subsequently and didn't take the start. Carl Rossin in his 924 was the other non-starter, number 41. Here comes Dan Krigo. He's never going to attempt to move through Church, sure. That's very brave. He's going for the inside. He's going for it. Look at this from Dan Krigo. He's going through. He's done it. Brilliant from Dan Krigo. I think, has Brian Richardson got a problem there? Has he slowed? Krigo pulls away. I wonder if Brian Richardson has got a problem. He seems to slow coming out of Church there. We'll keep an eye on the number 13. You can see he's dropped back by about 3 or 4 car lengths now. I thought he was slowing up there coming out towards Brooklands, but he's still going. Just under 4 minutes to go. Well, Dan Krigo breaking the dominance of the Boxsters. It was looking like a Porsche Boxster clean sweep of the podium. They reckon without Dan Krigo in the number 35, the man from Epsom in Surrey. Here's Brian Richardson. There is our leader, Sam Callahan, the man from Essex. Races in Ginetta GT4 Super Cup as well. Which is music as well. There's plenty of singing and songwriting. It's pulled away from Rob Hardy. Now there's Hardy in the background. Here's a battle of the, no, not a battle of the 924s, that's the 968 of Krigo attacking Darren Constance and lapping him round the outside at Church this time. He's taking some risks through there, Dan Krigo. He's loving this. There's Richardson in 4th. Now let's have a look at the lap times for Brian Richardson's car. Yeah, he's lapping in the 134, so a bit off his earlier pace. He's struggling a bit, I think. Krigo's just at a 132.3, so he's still on that pace he showed earlier. Still with the fastest lap of the race at 131.26. The lead gap is 2.6 seconds between Callahan and Hardy. I don't think they're going to be caught here. Sam Callahan staying ahead of Rob Hardy. They're 23 seconds ahead of Krigo. Richardson lapping in the high 134s now, so he's gone off the boil somewhat. 5th behind them are the Goodwins, then it's Valentine and Hornsey leading the 924 class. Ivor Mayers 7th, then Hugh Pert, he showed some good scrapping early on. Bales and Hicks are 9th in the Porsche Cayman, and Darren Constant in 10th. Some of the delay when he was collected coming into the pits and tangled with Pip Hammond. There's our Class 1 runner, the Porsche Cayman. Beautiful looking car, that one. They're in 9th overall. Obviously it's Trevor Bales and Paul Hicks. 1 minute to go. Should be last lap this time for our leading cars. Here come your leaders. I think they got through to start that lap in time, yes. So it should be checkered flag this time. They're coming up to lap the 924 leader, David Hornsey. 2.68 seconds in it, so it looks like it is going to be a win for Sam Callahan. Here he comes, out of Seagrave, staying ahead of Rob Hardy. Very quick sports car racer indeed, Sam Callahan. Using Porsches and Ginettas. Out into the country he goes. It's going to be checkered flag this time because the clock is about to count down to 0. In this calm all Porsche trophy, 4th race of the season. He's going clear of Rob Hardy now. Sam Callahan pretty much dominated this race from the start. The man who was supposed to start alongside him on the front row, unfortunately eliminated after an incident in qualifying. And apart from at the pit stops, he's led all the way. He's going to complete 25 laps in the 40 minutes here for the calm all Porsche trophy at Thruxton. Sam Callahan into the chicane for the final time. Through he comes. Well done, Sam Callahan. Out of the chicane, up towards the checkered flag, and it's a win for Sam Callahan in our first race of the weekend at Thruxton. Rob Hardy comes over in second, just over 2 seconds separating them at the line. And then we will wait for Dan Krigo to come through in 3rd place in the 968. A great race by him.
Come on! Fuck yeah! Fuck yeah! First race win ever. First race fucking win.
There is our winner. Sam Callahan wins the calm all Porsche trophy here at Thruxton Circuits. It's his first ever win in the series in the Boxster. I'll bring you the results in a second. Next up, we're going big rig racing. The British Truck Racing Championship will be on track very shortly. Sam Callahan comes into pit lane.
Haven't spoken to him since then. Good second position there from Rob Hardy.
Let's have a look at the results then. Sam Callahan taking the win by just over 2 seconds ahead of Rob Hardy, and Dan Krigo breaking the Boxster dominance in 3rd place. He wins Class 3. Brian Richardson 4th ahead of the Goodwins. Then in 6th place the Class 4 winner Chris Valentine and David Hornsey. That was the last car on the lead lap. 7th going to Ivan Mayers ahead of Hugh Pert. 9th for Bales and Hicks. They win Class 1 in their Cayman. Then Darren Constant in 10th place. We lost Pip Hammond unfortunately after a collision, and Tom McHugh was also an early casualty in his 944. Well, great opening race then for the calm all Porsche trophy here at Thruxton. We can hand down to Ian Waterhouse in a moment in the pits to hear from some of the drivers.
Right, welcome back to Parc Fermé. This time, as you can see up the lights, so you can now hear me. Here we are, we've got the sparkling water, shall we say. Let's go have a quick chat with your race winner, Sam Callahan. Here he is. He's having a quick chat. Sam,
hi.
Congratulations, how was it out there?
It's terrifying. No, it was brilliant. I absolutely loved it. I've never raced it before. What an amazing circuit, and yeah, it was a good day for it.
It was great to see you, Rob, actually. He didn't let you get away, did he?
No, he was behind me the whole time. Actually, looking at the lap times, I was sort of thinking, I'll try and get ahead a little bit and then give myself some room to breathe, but I couldn't. I was on it from start to finish. And at the beginning, sat on the grid, my door wouldn't shut.
I saw that. I saw that you were signalling to the marshal. I wasn't sure what was going on. But
literally shut and the lights went out. And I was like, right, go.
Well, look, keep your head in the shade. I've got a little hat for you. Let's first on the side, and this is for you as well. Look, congratulations. There you go. Give everybody a wave. Give everybody a wave.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Let's keep going on.
Do a quick shout out to
Please,
these guys.
yeah, go ahead.
So I just thought a big thank you to my sponsors. We've got Bullhorn, Talysis, Zamp and Liquid Moly LM Performance UK. Without them guys, and also AMS Porsche, who I definitely wouldn't be here without today. So thank you to those guys. Cheers.
Well done, Sam.
See you later.
Good stuff indeed. Let's see if we can have a quick chat over here. How was it out there? Hot indeed, yes. Yeah, what was the race like?
It was good, it's nice and clean. Yeah, just couldn't quite get the legs on him.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's the youngsters, isn't it? I'm old and fat, and he's young and fit. So.
I wouldn't say that. So I wouldn't say that. Look, we know it's been quite tough, and we're about to get absolutely soaked here. There must be some for you actually somewhere looking around. I've no doubt at all. So just before you go, you got a quick word, because obviously you and Rob went very close, didn't you? But he was saying you're too young gun.
That's what it is.
Yeah. There we go, at least he's honest.
Yeah. Well done, guys. Go celebrate. Thanks for talking to us. We really do appreciate it. Fantastic stuff. Now, we've got so much to bring you throughout.